If you set a goal and you're not thinking about the systems that are in place to help you achieve those goals, then you're already missing the timing piece, the timing variability. Now, if you do account for that, which I talk about directly in the book, if you, in this specific chapter, if you do account for those systems that you have, this is what's going to tell you the difference in variability. So here we go. So the variability of your results isn't obvious until you experience it. Most people just assume that more leverage means more predictability in your systems, right? If you've got more systems that are passively built for you, they typically we assume that means that we'll have more predictability. I'll give you an example here shortly. Most people also assume that building systems, hiring teams, creating scalable processes makes outcomes more certain. And the opposite is completely true. It honestly is. The more leverage that you have, the less control you have over your goal happening at your specific designated time. Again, the more leverage or the higher quality leverage, once you get up that hierarchy of leverage, the higher you go, the less likely that your goal will happen and the results will happen on your specific designated time. When you leverage systems, whether that's people, capital, code, or media, you're introducing variables you cannot completely control. Each form of leverage comes with its own unpredictability. So there's 3 forms of leverage that I teach, and I'm just going to summarize these very quickly. So with people leverage, you got team members. They get sick. They have personal crises. They make mistakes. They exceed expectations sometimes. Sometimes they quit unexpectedly, or they might surprise you with a breakthrough performance. You cannot predict which will happen when. The next hot level up is capital leverage, right? So markets fluctuate. Investors, they change their mind. Loans get approved or denied. Opportunities appear suddenly or evaporate overnight. You cannot control external financial conditions. And then there's code or media leverage, which is the highest form of leverage. This is where algorithms change, platform shift policies, content goes viral unexpectedly, technical issues emerge, or adoption happens faster or slower than you expect. You cannot dictate how systems scale. And so those 3 types of systems, people leverage, capital leverage, and then code or media or permissionless leverage. Those 3 are very specifically built in a hierarchy. So what I want to explain to you is the bottom hierarchy, which is people leverage. What I mean by like the lowest on the hierarchy totem pole when it comes to people leverage is that when you have your systems built on people, let's just say for an example, you own a McDonald's, you own people leverage. Your McDonald's is run based on the individuals that work there. You can obviously build better systems for those people, right? That they can be able to work in, better environments for them to work in. You can train them, right? That's the whole goal. When you train your leverage systems, it should produce more and better results, better quality results, hopefully more effectiveness and more efficiency because you've got people. You can directly influence these people as well, but it's the lowest amount because you've got so much. There's the idea of human fallacies when it comes to people that you cannot always rely on. Because again, people get sick, right? If you are trying to choose to franchise your own restaurant, you have to understand most of what you're going to deal with is people leverage, right? You're going to, eventually you're going to use capital leverage likely to get started up on, franchising a business. And a lot of you guys are probably part-time entrepreneurs, right? So you're probably not utilizing people leverage. You're probably honestly using capital leverage. A lot of people nowadays are utilizing different debt systems or loans. Investors, that's a really great form of capital leverage. And it is one step higher than people leverage because you don't have to ask for as much permission or you don't have to rely on human fallacies as much. However, you do have things like market conditions. Who investors believe in your business idea just the same as you do? And if they do, how much is it worth for them to give to you? Or people utilize debt, right? We all know very wealthy individuals, they use debt to their advantage. And we've got so many entrepreneurs trying to use debt to their advantage as well. This is why I teach, and you can check out the YouTube channel at Reforge HQ, where I teach all about the differences between personal, business, and corporate credit, because corporate credit is one of the best forms of capital leverage that you can have. where instead of you relying directly on your own social security number, your capital comes directly from, like, your funding comes directly from your specific EIN and your ability to be able to buy and pay back, or borrow, excuse me, borrow and pay back money. That's it. And that's a huge benefit. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to use that sort of capital leverage. And so because of that, they utilize a lot of funding from business credit, which gives you maybe better interest rates in personal, but still you're relying on your personal credit. So then you've got code or media or total permissionless leverage. And this is your ability to be able to make something one time and it flourishes and pays you and things like that, so on and so forth. The systems continue running without you, things like that. And a lot of times your capital or your people leverage systems can run without you, but they can still be stopped from anyone else. As an example, writing a book, right? Media leverage. Writing a book is a form of permissionless, or that highest tier of leverage, where you can do something where you can create it and it there, but now it can be repeatedly sold, right? A book can be repeatedly sold. It's the highest form of leverage that you can potentially have. And it is one of the best forms of leverage as well, because it pays the best. It's just, it will 100% pay you the best. It requires a lot more capital from you, like your time, your effort, your money, a lot more of an investment of yourself into those sort of systems. However, if you build quality sorts of code, media, or permissionless leverage, it's going to pay you very well. It's like, think about this. If you plant a seed for an apple tree, you're going to do that, and you're going to spend a lot of time making sure that the soil is nourished and that you're watering the seed and that the seed is going to grow very healthily. And you want to make sure it's planted in an environment that's not going to have a drought, or that's not going to have, natural causes and natural disasters come in and mess up the soil or the tree or break it down or anything like that. But of all the tilling and all the planting, all the hard work that you're going to do by yourself one time, that apple seed grows into an apple tree that is able to feed you and your family forever because of the upfront sacrifice. I also talk about this specifically when I speak about the investment paradox, which I talk about both in the integrity formula a little bit, but only a little bit in the freedom formula. But I talk about it a lot on my podcast and my blog. So make sure to check out the podcast and the blog if you guys are interested there. However, with doing this is now going to pay you forever, or feed your family forever. And that's a sort of permissionless leverage, something that you can do now, and then you don't have to ask for permission for it to continue generating whatever it is that you want it to generate for you. That's one of the best forms. So code, right? Writing code to where individuals can continue to purchase that code over and over, or creating a sort of course, like a business coaching course or something like that, where maybe it doesn't require your constant involvement, right? It doesn't require your constant involvement, but you directly built the course. It has your face or your knowledge in the course, and that course can be sold over and over, whether or not you are involved in it. Things like that. So those are the three breakdowns. Again, without diving super deep into all of them, there's a lot more details, and I'm sure I probably missed a lot of it. If you want to learn much more about that, make sure just to get the Freedom Formula. Is actually I think it's only $8 on Amazon. You guys can go and grab it. Each layer of leverage multiplies the variability. Your goals can happen much, much faster than expected, but they can also happen much, much later.